So this would be a great time if anyone has a thought you'd like to share, an experience you want to talk about, a question. Helen. And Helen, there you go.
A couple of weeks ago, or not a couple of weeks ago, um, yeah, you mentioned the different parts of the brain that I'm talking about the reorienting reflex
Hmm. Hmm.
and from the meditation to everyday life and
Hmm.
the different parts of the brain. Could you reiterate that?
I'll do my best. My degrees are philosophy, theology, and business administration. You'll notice there's not a biology course in there. So this is from a non-expert point of view. My understanding is that normally, when I say return your attention to how you normally hold it, normally most of us are we spend a lot of time in this part of the brain, in the frontal part, the prefrontal cortex. It's where we're thinking and sensing and coordinating, and it's just sometimes called the human brain. Um, and then deeper in the brain is a structure, um, which I'm going to get the name wrong because I'm not a scientist. It's called the anterior cingulate cortex, and I think there's more than one structure associated with it, but in essence, it's the part of the brain that tracks, like when you're aware, like I'm about to pick up my coffee cup and I know where my body is in space, right? And I can coordinate the movement. So there's like a self-awareness part of it. There's a memory of what happened before and what's happening next. There's sort of like a prediction, sort of like an intelligence in it that's predictable, right? And memory. And there's a third part of it, which I I loosely think of as remembering when an experience happened to me as opposed to somebody else. So there's sort of like this happened, like an owning, like a part of the deep brain that owns the experience. It happens so automatically, most of us were not there. So we live in the prefrontal cortex, and when you shift to do the meditation, you're shifting, not, I mean, you can't completely shift, but that part of the brain is more activated when they light it up with MRIs or whatever it is they do, right? It shows that it's more activated. So you could just say the midbrain as opposed to the frontal brain gets more activated. And when you come out of meditation, you're coming back from the midbrain to how you normally hold your awareness, which is I'm looking around, I'm still thinking, but it's sort of like what's going to happen next. It's a different part of the brain structure. So that we're shifting. So when I ring the bell and I said, return your attention to how you normally hold it, it's a cue to come back to, okay, this is how I normally am. I don't have to forget the things that I learned while I was in meditation, but I'm not completely focused on that. I'm more focused in the conversation or whatever else is happening. I hope that was sort of a recapitulation. Hope it was useful. And I hope it was accurate because, as I said, I have a degree in medieval philosophy, Catholic theology, and business admin. And in my 3-year retreat, the lamas never talk about this. That's not where they were coming from. They somehow figured it out without languaging it and talking about it that way. So it's a very modern Western thing. That's a wonderful addition to the Dharma. It's sort of nice to know how it works, why it works, what's going on physically. So, and I sort of take the physical science. There's I wish I could remember this man's name. He gave a talk that I saw. It was recorded on YouTube, I think. He gave a talk on mindfulness to, it was at the University of British Columbia. And, we sort of think that the brain science is showing us like what happens when you meditate. And, the different parts of the brain light up in the MRI, and you go, well, because that's lighting up, this is happening in your meditation. And there's a logical fallacy involved, the fallacy of correlation. When things happen together, A, the first thing, does not always cause B, the other thing. So it's the correlation fallacy. So because we went to the midbrain, that's not completely what the meditation's about. There's something a little bit more magical or mysterious going on. That's worth remembering. So he had a wonderful example. I think his first name was Evan. I wish I could remember his last name. He was talking about how, like, when a conductor is conducting a symphony, and there they are, there she, he, they are, waving their wand, and you could think the wand is making the music. The wand is connected, it's correlated to the music, but it might be working with the timing, but it's actually the orchestra or the symphony that's making the music. Right? So that's the correlation thing. Like, you have to be careful of that, for whatever that level of intellectual distinction is worth. It's not at all what I expected to talk about today. Anybody else have anything? Or do you want to go further in that? Joan.
So this is right on the same subject. What part of the brain, if there is one, is awareness, and how does it come into being? At what stage of a baby's development?
Oh,
I want answers to this.
You have asked the $64 million question. Whoever answers that question is a liar.
Well, I mean, it's pretty amazing, isn't it? Really, that we think at all, that our heart beats like any of this.
Yeah.
And what causes it to start? I mean, I know there's a brain development in there somewhere, but even that, like, when you go into these questions, it just becomes more sort of fascinating and mysterious.
Right. So I'm a Tibetan Buddhist, or I practice Indo-Tibetan Buddhism. I'm gonna speak to the question, but it's really a sort of a theological, philosophical question. It's not a science question. And from the point of view, those of you who have done the Awakening the Sky practice with me, have heard me say over and over again, in some form, awareness is not a thing. Like, just allow yourself to contemplate that for a moment. It's not a thing. It's not like a rock. It's more like a river than a rock, to, familiar statement, right? It's an event. If it's not a thing, it defeats being measured. You could say it is immeasurable, because how do you measure not a thing? But the experience is very vivid. It's compelling, like you're all, I hope, experiencing awareness, even though that's not a rock. It's not a thing. And so the meditation, and here's the, this is very, I don't know, I hope it's useful. I'm into deep water here. As a human being, you will never experience, or I will never experience, we will never experience awareness without a brain. It's a pretty simple statement. As a human being, you will never experience awareness without a brain. But here's the correlation fallacy. The brain and awareness are not the same thing. A brain you can measure, it's a thing. It's got parts, it's got a color, it's got a weight, a shape, it's got all the things, it's got all the qualities that things have. But awareness, good luck finding it. But you're all experiencing it. And so there's this delightful conversation in advanced Indo-Tibetan philosophies and practices of, like, okay, now how do I work with this experience that's not a thing? And they have ideas. It's beyond the scope of meditation is freedom, but since you asked, Joan, it opens, like, just pointing to a longer conversation, and it's part of what when I open up this new program in January, what I hope to invite people into, like deeper explorations of that, of the philosophy and the possibilities beyond this. There's a lot that can happen after meditation is freedom. This is not the end of the story. And every religion, like I practice Vajrayana Buddhism. Well, in the Vajrayana, we would say that awareness doesn't die. It's not a thing. It's always there when you look for it. You can't find when it was born. It doesn't have a starting point. And because it's a thing and it's not a thing and it doesn't have a starting point, it doesn't have a death point, like an end point. You won't find where it ends. So now you have this always there. I prefer always there to immortal because that's the wrong idea. You have this always there experience that's not the same as your brain. So from the Tibetan Buddhist point of view, when you die, that continues without you. The lead singer can retire, but the band keeps playing. The body and the brain can go away, but the song continues. Right? Awareness continues. If I were a Christian, I would say God made it. God creates the soul. That's that religion. Every religion has their way of explaining it. Right? So that becomes a theological discussion rather than a meditation discussion. Right? So that's deeper waters. If you're interested, stay tuned. More will be coming. But for now, what we're working with in meditation is freedom. Is, I think it's said at the very beginning, the only things you have to believe in for this practice to work. So we're way back before that level of conversation about where does awareness come from and where does it go and how does it work and what is it. We're back at a sort of the driving lessons. Like, how do I get myself ready to explore those? And the driving lesson, all you have to believe is that you have a mind.
And where is that, I ask?
You tell me.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We keep bringing it back, and that you can work with it. We keep bringing back the experience of awareness or mind, as we get lost in the words here. We keep bringing it back to the breath, breathing in, breathing out, body. Like, that's all you have to, if you can connect with that experience, you have what's required to make this practice work. Helen, I saw your hand going up.
Yeah, I don't know. I have I feel challenged by the thought that if there isn't a brain, there isn't awareness. I mean, there could be changes in brain.
I don't think did I say if there isn't a brain, there isn't awareness?
Yeah, you did.
No.
Yeah.
I said you will never experience awareness without a brain. That's different. You as Helen will not experience awareness without Helen's brain. Otherwise, what would be experiencing it?
Okay, so I'm still going to say this, but there can be changes in a brain, and there can still be awareness. Like, for example, with Alzheimer's or dementia or different kinds of abilities.
Correct. I agree. Yes.
And in fact, they can be very special awarenesses.
Correct. Also agree.
Let me agree.
Isn't that fun? But, right, the awareness that, what I was trying to say with you won't experience it without your brain is that when the question is asked philosophically, like, where is it? What is it? It sort of leads you to think that awareness is something other than you, other than in your experience, as if it is external, like my phone that I'm holding up, like, oh, there's my awareness. Right? So by saying it's you, basically, it's your brain, your body, it's not just your brain, right? You will experience it within you, as long as you are a human being. When you're dead, coming for us all. You are no longer a human being. I know that's not how we think of it, because culturally we think, oh, something goes to heaven or something carries on, and we think of that as still human. But if you think of it, it no longer has a body. Can you be
But
a human? Can you be a human without a body? Yeah, Joan.
so if we can't experience awareness without a brain and we die, how do we know that awareness is still there even though we don't have a brain?
Well,
How did the Okay, go ahead.
that is demonstrated in the awakening the sky practice, because whenever you come back, it's there. Always that you begin to become very familiar with the always there quality of it. So there's another course for those who haven't done this with me. After Meditation is Freedom, I teach a course called Entering the Stream, which is stages 5 through 9. And then after that, there's a course that goes further that I call Awakening the Sky. So we're sort of mixing courses. I'm a little bit anxious about doing that, but since the conversation's open, Yoka, it looked like you wanted to jump in. Or was it Michelle? I can't remember. Somebody's hand was up. Michelle.
I just had this interesting experience when Lionel was in hospice. So the last 4 days of his life, he was unconscious. He was not responding to anything, and so I was still, we were there all the time, my son and I, and I was. He loved massage, so I was like massaging. He loved to have his scalp massage in his face. I was right over him. I was massaging his scalp. I was rubbing his face, and I was talking to him, and Patrick was right there, and I was telling him about how much he loved this. And I'm rubbing his face, and all of a sudden he has this great big smile on his face, and he's not conscious. So that must be awareness or something, right?
You know, you've now reached beyond my level of, there was some response happening.
Yeah.
And without the level of interaction that we're having right now, without him being able to tell you that he liked it, you have to interpret. And there would be multiple interpretations. But I would like to think that he was responding to the love you were showing him as he was preparing to die. But that's an interpretation. So, Bonnie, we're in deep water, Bonnie.
Well, completely different. Another magical
Okay.
experience. I just wanted to share with everyone that we have a new addition to our family this morning, and my phone has been pinging. And so we have Phineas Mack.
Wow. Phineas Mack.
Phineas Mack, yeah.
Wow.
Anyway.
Wow, congratulations. So is this a great grandson or a grandson?
Yes, a great grandson.
Great grandson. Wow, congratulations. Hooray.
Yay!
And where was Phineas born?
Seattle.
Seattle. Oh, sweet. Sweet. So you'll be going down sometime soon, whenever's appropriate to go visit, I'm sure. Yeah.
I have to head down there. See.
Oh, that's lovely.
So,
Excellent.
Another mind in the world.
Another mind.
A little magic happening.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think Helen was waving goodbye. Anybody else have anything? Mark.
Okay, boy, that's a hard act to follow, Bonnie. Phineas Mack, wow. The awareness and its connection to our ability to be aware of it. What I notice is that that seems to have some connection with where we are at any given time as we go through life, and our capacity for connecting with that awareness somehow changes in ways that we don't notice. We
Yes.
really, we think that it's just stable, but what I'm noticing, I don't know if this comes with age or whether it's always there and you don't notice it, but I find that I can think I'm paying attention to my whatever's going on,
Right.
and to the best of my capacity, and then something happens that makes me aware that I totally missed something.
Right.
It was right there in front of my nose and I didn't see it,
Right.
and that's a disconcerting experience, and
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe it's more prevalent as you get older. I don't know, but it's
Well,
interesting.
It could be more prevalent as you get older. It's also a thing, one of the things that this practice begins to address as we're training our attention is that, not that you'd have, this is affected as you get older, but you get more power over your attention. So your awareness, there's an impact or a connection between working with your attention and the flow or the experience of being aware. Your awareness, if I can use that word, isn't captured by some thought, and you don't drive off the road and get into the parking lot and find yourself shopping in the store, buying stuff you didn't really think you wanted, right? And you didn't even realize you'd gone off the road. But there you are in Costco or Walmart or the superstore or whatever, and your shopping cart's full, and you go, how did I get here? So every time you notice and come back, you're strengthening your ability to take control of attention, and that allows you to direct awareness.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
most
sort of picture it as just.
Go ahead.
You go ahead, Brian.
Well, I was going to say
Well,
that
I just sort of. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I sort of picture it as an interesting occurrence
Mhm.
all the time, and try to resist letting it taking more control than that.
Okay,
In
that's
terms
good.
of my emotions. So
That's good. Well, what you said and what I wanted to say are connected. I think that many of us resist taking control of our awareness because then you're responsible. And it's much easier to just think, well, the world did that, you know. But it's much more powerful and sort of at the heart of Buddhist practice of oh, I can, this is if you go to the website for Meditation is Freedom, underneath that logo, it says, take control of your attention. You can take control of your awareness. And then it's not that you control everything. We're not being the silly, if I imagine winning the lottery, that happens, like that kind of wish fulfilling, what do they call that? I know it's called The Secret. There's another word for that approach, right? We're not, that's sort of silly, right? Otherwise, everybody would be a millionaire and have their best 20-year-old, 30-year-old body, and they'd never have anybody who would argue with them. I know if you meet that person, I want to know how they did it. But those of us on planet Earth, if you took control of your attention, then you could, in the words of another community, see it, Patricia, in the words of another community, you could, have the serenity to accept the things you can't change, and the courage to work with the things you could control, and the intelligence or the wisdom to know the difference. Right? But you can't do that unless you can tell the difference and think that you're in control. Anyway, I'm really rambling far afield. It feels like we've gone on long enough. Anybody have anything catching fire that you want to say? Well, I love practicing with you. I'm going to share something I encourage the other group to do. If you have access to a car, or if not, a bicycle or going for a walk, but car is the designer thing here. My suggestion to the other group was, because we'll practice again on Monday morning, and I hope you practice during the weekend. I realized I didn't send the video yesterday. I'll be sending both today's and yesterday's very quickly, as soon as I can. My suggestion was go out for a car ride. Like, get in your car, don't turn on the radio, don't listen to anything. If you can, go by yourself. If your partner wants to go with you, please ask them to allow, like, to be silent. Like, nice to ride with you, let's not talk. Like, for 20 minutes, I just want to be in the car. And then just go for a drive and feel what it's like to all the rich layered experiences, hands on the wheel, foot on the, eyes on the road, please. Hands on the wheel, foot on the gas, and just check it out. You're not doing the breathing thing, right? You're just paying attention, like, oh, his car feels good, road's rough, this is slippery, this is like, just notice all the layered quality of it. That could be a very interesting experience. So if you don't have a car, you can do something similar on a bike, or you could do something similar going for a walk. And just noticing all the layers of the experience. With that, I'm going to say, have a great rest of your day. Michelle? Oh, she left. Okay. See you all on Monday.